Welcome to DarkSideAdventures, an 18 and older, not safe for work podcast where we explore the dark side of sex, the world of kink, fetish, and the BDSM lifestyle.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Dark Side Adventures, of course, with your hosts. I am, and Edwin.
I wanted to be first this time.
Got to steal the show this time. It's okay. Yes. Oh man. Of course, I always got to start off with the wonderful holiday of today. So happy Brussels sprouts day.
Yes, please enjoy some Brussels sprouts. I bought some and haven't cooked them yet. I'm very sad.
I was literally about to just ask you. I was like, "Did you buy some? Did you cook them?"
Yes, I bought them, but I haven't cooked them yet. I ended up having leftovers mashed potatoes for dinner instead of cooking Brussels sprouts.
I mean, at least the leftovers are going to good use this time.
Exactly. I'm usually pretty good about not wasting leftovers.
Usually. No leftover. I'm a huge fan of leftovers. Honestly, like I enjoy the fact that I could like cook one day and then have like 2 extra days of food.
Yeah, well, for me, I grew up with a lot of siblings, so I cook what I think is a small portion, and then I have leftovers for the next week and a half.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm learning. It's gotten better.
You remember you can still just cook for one. It's okay.
I don't know how.
Or just cook enough and then take some over to your master's house.
Right. I've cooked for him once, and I haven't been able to cook for him again, so I wonder if he's worried about my food. I mean, to be fair, when I get distracted, I burn a lot of things. So I have to be like very focused in the kitchen, which isn't always the best. Or the easiest thing for me. So I try, but it doesn't always happen.
Well, when you decide to actually cook these Brussels sprouts, please don't burn them.
I don't plan to. I'm going to put them in the air fryer and get them like crispy and yummy. And then I have a balsamic vinegar that I'm going to make a reduction out of and throw some honey in there so it's like a balsamic glaze.
God dang. Like,
sounds
come on, girl. Like,
right?
Yeah, send some through the mail.
Ugh. They might be a little rotten by that point. If they haven't gone bad sitting in my fridge since I bought them.
They got the overnight ship and just send it in like a cooler chest.
True. I didn't think about that.
But
maybe
man, like maybe you'll send me some thanks.
Maybe. We'll see if I finish them.
It's all good. Worst come to worst, we'll just get the recipe. So
well, there you go.
Oh man. But it's kind of been a very strange week. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Strange.
Yeah, strange. So, like, of course, like, you know, we do the whole like stock market thing, and I'm sure like everybody's kind of like talking about it. But like the whole thing with like GameStop and whatnot, like it's kind of weird to see, like all of these people now with like a whole bunch of money. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with it. So.
Agreed. It's always weird to see what people do when they come into like a lot of money.
A large sub, yeah, I agree. But for me, this week's been all right. What's been going on with you?
Work, and more work, and then a little bit of editing. I worked early yesterday morning. I worked all day Friday. I work today, I work tomorrow, I work Tuesday, I work at 5 a.m. on Wednesday.
Oh my god, I gotta be up at 5:30.
Yeah, my eye is already twitching.
It's for the sake of the money.
It is. Moolah is good.
Mm-hmm. And it keeps you busy. I mean, other than that, we all be bored, home eating some bonbons or something. We're Oreo fanatics on the side.
Yes, Oreo. Or I've got 2 boxes of candy sitting next to me.
Ooh.
It's fine.
I forgot my Coca-Cola today, so hopefully I'll still be energetic. Hopefully, throughout this whole thing. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this is like usually. I know we kind of talked about this. This is like one of those highlights of my weeks. So usually like Sunday and Thursday comes along, I'm like, hell yeah, I got some work to do.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel good, and it kind of keeps me, keeps me going.
I agree. I definitely. It comes along, and I'm like, oh, fun, and then, or I'll be like, oh no, I haven't finished editing.
Well, I mean, so far, you've been like knocking it out in a day, so of course we appreciate you there.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'll like I said, get you some more graphics so at least we can upgrade a little bit.
Exactly. I'm liking the graphics so far. I do think you need to make a graphic for the holidays though.
Oh, like
Yes.
No, I might have to do that.
Yes.
I'm going to see if we can get the logo without the background and see if we could like change it for every holiday, put like a little heart or something for change it up. Yeah, we're out here talking about ideas. We should probably surprise y'all, but we're not even surprising you guys. So
right. I guess we'll move on. We'll try to keep this one. Last one went on for a little while, so we'll see if we can keep this one not as long, I guess. Yeah, last one was like an hour and 20 minutes, so thank you for all who's watched that one or listened to that one. Yes, definitely appreciate it. But I guess we will move on to our topic, which is Munches, socialization, and vetting.
This, I don't even know where to start, honestly, with this one.
Yeah, this one's kind of a big one, and we've decided to throw it into... each of these are super important, and we decided to throw it into one, which obviously cuts down how much we can say about it, which is also why we're not pulling up articles at the moment, because our goal is to read you guys an article or two each quote-unquote daytime show, the first show of the week. But we are going to not do that this time. We are going to put... what do we have? 5, 6, 7? We have a handful of articles down below.
7 full articles.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should change the name of the live stream. It's still saying live stream number 4. Live stream episode 5. I guess I should update the info in here.
Live stream episode 5 or episode 4, the remix.
Yes. All right, so stop. Go away. Oh no! I may have just stopped the live stream.
Oh no!
By hitting the back button. Let me go.
Oh, hold on.
It might still be going.
Hold on, guys. Stay with us.
Okay, I hope that didn't stop it. Technical difficulties on Coco's end. I tried to erase and it didn't erase, so it went back instead. So we'll just do it a little differently. Okay, so let's see if I can remember how to spell. You guys, I struggle with spelling socialization. Socialization. Haha. Munches and vetting. Okay. So there we go. That'll work for now. And then I'll put we'll put the articles we found in the description when we're done, so I don't mess this up again. Woohoo! I say we start with socialization, because I feel like that's a good lead in. Like, how do you get social in the kink community? How do you get social in the BDSM lifestyle? And then that'll fall into munches and vetting.
Oh man, hold on. I gotta get my notepad for this one. Because if I don't, I know we're gonna keep running in circles. So
I've got a notepad here.
No, thank you, notepad. You saved me many times. So with socialization and where to even start? Let's put it that way. So there's soft ways to get into it, medium ways to get into it, and hard ways to get into it. From the way that I look into it, like a soft way to kind of like get into it is to do something like join a Facebook group, join a Reddit, group or something on there where you're kind of like seeing people talk about either kink stuff, kink problems, or kink advice, kink solutions, stuff like that. So in that way, you kind of, you could be, and I'm assuming this person is new, right?
Yeah. I feel like we should play it as if you're new.
Yeah. So being brand new, like let's say you're brand new, you have no clue about kink. Maybe you've seen the movies or the shows where the girl's wearing like the nice like strappy, lingerie. You seen the guy with like a little paddle or something, and
or
you're like, okay.
Listen to our podcast.
Yes, or you've listened to the DarkSideAdventures podcast, and you have no clue about it. Well, of course you're going to Google it, but at some point you're going to have to find quote unquote a community, or a group of people talking about this. So if it were me and I was starting out, I would definitely go with Reddit. And that's just because there's so many categories for Reddit, because once you like dive down one hole, obviously you're going to go to different holes. So it'll be like, you'll be in there and, one group will be talking about, let's say like, paddles and, different like, kink acronyms, it's maybe like, basically BDSM motivation is what it could be. And then that way it's like you start learning terms, and then, one Reddit will lead you to another one. And so you're slowly kind of making your way, like learning. But besides that, definitely like Facebook, just because there's so many groups. The only thing is like the hard thing about Facebook groups is the fact that like sometimes they will try and screen you at first. And it's hard, especially if you don't know anything, to pass the screening. Does that make sense?
It's true. But be honest in it. Be like, I'm if they ask a question about all of what this stands for, be like, I honestly don't know. I'm new to the community. I'm trying to learn. Don't try to make it up. Because they would rather have somebody who's new and trying to learn and admitting it than somebody who's lying about it all and just fumbling along.
And I completely agree. Being honest, of course, and that's just in the whole community, of course. Just being honest up front, like, hey, I don't know anything. Like, I've just been kind of like, sifting a few groups on, Reddit, and I just really want like, some guidance. That's probably the best way to put it. That you really just need like, some help learning. And so with that, they'll definitely, kind of pull you in and, just make sure that you're not like one of those people. And I've seen it too many times, like in these groups where you just have somebody just kind of like sitting in the back, they're there and, they're trying to, right. Like join in the conversation. Like, even if you're wrong, right. It's better for somebody to correct you. So it's not going to be a problem in the future, or at least like, the right thing. Like, I always joke, like, if the teachers back in the day, instead of them giving you all the wrong answers, if they just gave you all the right answers, you would have just passed everything the right way, because it would all have been fact. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. You definitely, just because you join a group doesn't mean that you're actively in the group and participating and learning. The more active and vocal you can become, and the more, especially as a beginner, I feel like the more you're going to learn.
So, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes you end up making friends with somebody in the chat, and they're like, hey, we have another group over here too that you might want to join, and they'll invite you, and then that kind of brings in vetting, but that we'll go into that later. Okay, so that's kind of like a partial vet, so a friend kind of referring you.
Yeah. Some other ways to do some socialization is Kik is a good option if you want like a chat group. That's an online chatting community. You can search for different kind of groups. You can search for local groups. There's other messaging ones such as Telegram, which I find is a little harder to find groups just because of how it's built. A lot of people have moved to Discord. So a lot of groups are on there. Or if you really want to jump into the deep end, you can find groups on FetLife, which is, I've heard it described as a kinky Facebook, but not quite as well done. So maybe like a kinky MySpace.
Very true.
So you can jump on there and find more local communities. and groups if you search by like your location. So, but you will get a lot of photos, and you'll see a lot of things that, especially as a newbie, can feel overwhelming, and that's okay. So just know that before you jump and dive into that side of the pool.
Agreed. So yeah, like is like, those are definitely great places to, just kind of like start the journey about learning. Of course, we always preach like, just make sure that like you're learning at least like something, if not like once a week, like definitely like once a month to try and like up your BDSM game, or like she said, listen to the podcast. So it's just kind of like your weekly. It doesn't even have to necessarily be like a weekly fill, but just it's definitely something to kind of like keep you on track.
Exactly.
And then along with socialization too, not just where to, but how to.
Yes,
is
absolutely.
that's definitely a way to put it. So like, let's say, and this kind of happens a lot, like people just kind of like messaging people out of the blue just to like start chatting. Well, some people don't feel comfortable like that, just like you sending them a DM. I know we're in the age now of sending each other instant messages and PMs and stuff like that, but a lot of people, especially in this kind of community, they definitely want they want to meet you in person,
Yes.
rather than just like having a long conversation with you, because you can't really read anybody necessarily over a text message. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're right. And even online, like even in the vanilla world, you can get catfished so easy. But here in the kink world, where you're playing with some not always so safe kinks, and you're edging that line of safety and excitement, like it can be a lot worse for those who are being catfished.
Yeah, you never know who you're getting, but you also got to feel for the safety, like she was saying, for the other person too. So you don't know them, and they damn sure don't know you. So it's not, and then you want to go have like some type of interaction with them. People just they'd much rather kind of meet you in person, or like I said, be vetted from somebody else to make it just a little bit more. It's more of like a warm greet than just like a straight cold greeting.
Exactly. And that's not to say don't message somebody online, but one, do it respectfully. And most groups, especially on Facebook, will have a rule about asking somebody before just diving into their DMs, being like, hey, I have really enjoyed getting to know you in this group, and I would like to have this kind of discussion with you. Is it okay if I private message you? So that consent is so huge in the kink world, and having that consent to message somebody is huge and will gain you a lot of respect.
And just because somebody is into something the same as you does not necessarily mean that they want to do that with you. So, like I was saying before, it's like, with, Snapchat, Instagram, like all this extra stuff where you can send, pictures and all that. Like, one, definitely, if you're going to say something, you definitely want to say hi, of course, introduce yourself, but kind of like tell them why, you're contacting them, of course.
Exactly.
Don't send penis pics, please, people. That's not a good hi or a hello.
Let's not start with naked body photos. No,
yeah,
thank you. Of any gender or body configuration. I don't want to see it in my first message from you.
We, if we're gonna get to know each other, we definitely need to get to know each other on a neutral ground. So exactly. that doesn't bring a good because that doesn't make a good first impression.
No, it doesn't. And on that note, if somebody in their first message starts demanding that you call them by honorifics, whether it be madam, master, goddess, sir, ma'am, the great Sharpoo, whatever honorific they want to pull out, no, you are not submitting to them in the first part. No, you are a human being and you are an equal level ground, and you don't have to submit to every person who messages you. So
Man, You have a way with words.
Oh, thank you.
uh, so with that, like, we were talking about basically like, sending a message would technically, I guess, be like a cold introduction unless you know the person. Mm-hmm. But how to turn cold introduction to warm introductions, I guess we could move into munches.
Yeah, we can definitely move into munch. Edwin, do you want to tell everybody what a munch is?
Oh man, so a munch is it's almost like an event, right? We call it a vanilla events. It's an event where you basically go and let's say like a group is having a meetup. It's almost like just a regular meetup of people in a select group or sometimes multiple groups to kind of, get to know each other, but you also like eat, and it also gives you time to, talk and maybe get to know some of the leaders of some of the other groups that are having the actual munch to definitely make it feel a little bit more, more comfortable for everybody. So once you actually know the leaders of the group, you definitely feel more comfortable, and they'll definitely look out for you if you're, a new person.
Exactly.
But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, munches are basically like any group. It could be chess, or it could be girls' night out, or whatever, and everybody goes and has dinner and just chats. It's just one of those, in a very vanilla sense, because kinksters are people too. We want to sit down and talk to people with our clothes on. Mm-hmm. We don't always have to be naked.
To definitely get to know the person.
Yes. And I don't think we've ever defined it for people. I think a lot of people know, but when we say vanilla, we mean non-kinky people. Yes. Or a non-kinky situation.
Yeah, because there's people like us that are, kinky and, the bride of day, but we kind of still have to follow the social norms,
exactly.
And respect people's boundaries, of course. Like,
absolutely.
You're not going to show up in, your kink outfits to like Chili's or, roll through the shopping mall. Obviously, there's that line of respect. Definitely no. Definitely no. No masks. No.
No furry masks. No dog.
Yeah, nothing extra.
Yeah. So on that point, what do you wear to a munch? You wear jeans or sweatpants or a dress or whatever you would wear in a normal everyday to day life. It's not a dungeon or a private play party. It's not a fancy black tie thing. It's wear what you're comfortable in. If that's 8 coats because you're freezing and some sweatpants and boots, by all means. If that's a flowy summer dress and heels, cool. If that's PJs, you may want to double think that, but go for it if you really want to. Like, wear what you're comfortable in, that you would be willing to be seen out in public and doesn't out anybody else as a kinkster.
Agreed. Just normal clothes, just like, the same stuff you'd probably, go to class in or go to, just be hanging out at home, like jeans and a t-shirt or, going to the store or something. Just normal clothes, nothing extra, nothing, see-through or anything like that.
Exactly. And I think that leads us on to I guess we can jump to our next point of what do you do at a munch?
Oh, man. So what do you do at a munch?
I can tell you what I typically do for munches.
Okay.
I tend to find my munches on FetLife.com. Like I said, and especially out here, I introduce I like RSVP to the munch, and then I reach out to the leader typically and be like, hey, like I'm new to this group. Kind of chat with them for a second, be like, can I come find you when I start there so you can introduce me to people? And they'll typically say yes. So when I arrive, they usually have like a room reserved or kind of a side of the restaurant, or I've had them at bars too, and they're out on the patio or whatever. So I figure out where they're at. I head over, and a lot of times you kind of stand there looking at people like a deer in headlights trying to find the leader, and they'll come over and say hi and introduce themselves. But either way, I introduce myself. Sometimes they'll have like name tags, and people usually tend to go by I guess we can use the word alias.
Yeah. Definitely. A nickname, alias, yeah, either one.
An alias, an online persona name. Even if you know that person's legal name, if they introduce themselves as Barbara Mantity, then you call them Barbara Mantity and not John Smith.
That's right.
You use those names and you use the pronouns they ask. So then you kind of just chat with everyone. There's typically food or drinks. You talk to everybody. Whether you think you would, if you're looking to play, whether you think you would eventually play with them at a play party or a dungeon or whatever, talk to everybody. Find out what they're just, ask them what their favorite kinks are, what their favorite scene is, or something like that to get it going, and then you just kind of chat with everyone and get a feel for the group. That's what I do at Munches.
No, I mean that goes for all of us. You kind of not. You don't want to be timid, even if you are timid and scared. You have to think about it. All of these people are here for the same reason you are.
Exactly.
So think about it. There's probably somebody else there at the Munch. Definitely if you're like a young lady and let's say you're shy or something, there's probably another young lady there that is in the same predicament as you, just looking for somebody to talk to. And then once you spark a conversation, people will bring you into their conversations.
Exactly.
Because people want to get to know everybody that's there. And I kind of have like a mini story. We really do need like a story time, but
we do. Story time. Story time.
Woo!
I'll just say every time.
So I actually was in a group. I guess I can kind of like name the group anyway. So I was in this group called the Thrill Seekers, and I knew the leader. She's wonderful. I actually need to get her on the show. But a lot of people come to find out, like in the community, like didn't like her, which that's not here nor there. But she was having a get together, a munch at Chili's. And so we're all in there, and we're kind of talking. There's this one person at the end, like didn't really say anything. They just had their headphones on the whole time, just kind of like looking around, looking at the menu. But like whenever the waiter like came around to like just kind of like talk to them, you could tell like they were. I don't know if it was like they were nervous or what, but you could just tell like they didn't feel comfortable there. Mm-hmm. And so the point that I'm trying to make is I'm not trying to make fun of this person. I'm saying that like if you're gonna go there, you have to like go with the intentions of I am there to meet people, and there's nothing bad that can actually happen to you at a munch. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever you're ready to leave, nobody's gonna be like, no, you can't leave yet, blah blah blah. You can leave whenever you're ready to leave if you feel like you've socialized enough, and you talk to the leaders and everybody's giving you a good vibe. Then that's an accomplishment. You'd be surprised because some of these people, right away they'll ask you like, hey, what's your fet name or whatever it is, how can we contact you? And so that way you can end up like adding extra friends, and then later on they'll add you to parties and stuff like that, and you're basically, in other words, vetted, or that's at least what you're going to the munch for. I don't know if you want to add on to that.
Yeah, well, no, I just agree. Like, I am not a person who likes to talk in groups. I like to talk to people one-on-one. So when I go to Munches, I get very intimidated. And I will sit on the side for a little bit, which is okay. But you have to be willing to push outside of your comfort zone when you go to a Munch, especially if you're trying to find like a play party or just people in the community you can chat with. You have to be able to say, hi, and be willing to start that topic. Everybody there has been the new person at one point, so they know it's a little intimidating, and they're happy to talk, but it's one of those things. If that's what you want, that's what you have to go out and do. You have to push that comfort zone.
And some places too, different dungeons and whatnot, they'll have like new member night. So everybody in there, they'll, maybe they'll have some type of indicator. Maybe you'll wear like a name tag or like a badge, or maybe you'll wear like a specific color to let everybody know, hey, I'm the new person. Mm-hmm. And, it's a great way to meet new other people, and, they'll definitely set you in the right direction too. So
Exactly. I know the Dallas dungeon did, before COVID, it's been a little while, they did what they called a kink kink tasting, which was for a lot of new people and even for those who had been in the community. So you could go and kind of try a bunch of different kinks. Like they had, it was like a little carnival in there. So you go in and they had, like, there was somebody in the corner who was willing to talk to you about like sensation play and would show you a little bit of sensations play. There was somebody who was doing play with handcuffs and suspension with handcuffs. There was somebody doing electro play. There was body bags. There was wax play. There was tons of different impact play. There was like all of these different options that you can go and you could talk to these people who had been doing this specific kink for a long time and be able to chat with them about what it is and then get a little tasting of it. So that was really fun, and I know some other dungeons do it as well, but you know, reach out to your local ones, see what's going on.
Right. There's always, sorry, my microphone's going a little crazy right now. There's always something going on in the community, and you know, sometimes of course things get canceled, but it's okay.
It's okay. There'll be another one. Even during COVID, they were doing virtual Munches. So.
Yep.
But I guess we can, before, again, we've kind of been, I think we've harped that one. We can jump on to just a couple quick rules to know about Munches. Excuse me. I briefly touched on one earlier, is if you know that person's name is John Smith and they introduce themselves as Barbara Manatee, you'd call them Barbara Manatee while you're there at the Munch. Because you don't out other people to the world, even if that's in a kink section.
I mean, everybody wants to keep their identity, private, because some things that you do, let's just say some people normally won't approve of, especially like, let's say like people at work or, something like that. Like some of these people, like they have different lives and they don't want certain secrets getting out. So just kind of be respectful there.
Exactly. Another big one is if you've had this great chat with people there and you're getting up to leave, don't just hug them. Ask for consent before you touch anybody. That should be a pretty good rule in everyday lifestyle as well. But definitely ask if you can give them a hug if that's something you want to do, or ask if you can, offer your hand to shake, but don't expect it. Get their consent before they touch you. Or you touch them. Either way. Even if it's in a non-sexual way.
Agreed. Because sometimes, even at the Munches, there's still that dynamic at play. Exactly. So you have to respect that too. So yeah, always ask if you can, touch or hug somebody. Some people will just be like right away, like, they'll, reach out and shake your hand, or some people, they'll just like, hug anyway or whatever. But it's, once again, it's one of those things where after you get to know them, you know what to do.
Exactly. And then some Munches are going to have their own specific rules. I know there's the BDSM lifestyle is kind of gently split into there's two different subsets in the BDSM lifestyle. There's more, but two big ones is called OG, it's Old Guard, and then the other one is TNG, the New Generation. And Old Guard is much more formal, and they rely a lot more on protocols. That's the word I was looking for. They rely on much higher protocols than TNG. TNG is more loose and fun, but at the same time they only allow people into the group from 18 up to a certain age, typically 35, I believe. So if you're a younger person trying to get into the kink world, that may be a good option to look into the local TNG group. But yeah, they each have their own set of rules on Old Guard. If somebody comes in with their submissive, you say hello to the dominant first, and you can say hello to the submissive, but sometimes the submissive won't talk back to you because that's one of their protocols, or something like that. So each Munch may have their own specific set of protocols and rules for you to follow. So just make sure you ask the leader if there's any specific ones you need to follow. Most of the time it's not some high protocol functioning event, and it's just a let's have fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the big rules I can think about. What about you, Edwin?
I mean, no, you've definitely touched on the main ones. I mean, just other rules as far as like, well, I guess once we get into like scenes, because that's a whole nother topic. But just kind of, you know, if you get invited somewhere, and let's just say it's a little bit more than just a, you know, vanilla event. Like, you know, let's say you get into like a group, and you know you're just kind of there.
So it's like a play party?
Yeah, sort of like a play party, or maybe a play space.
Okay.
Definitely, of course, the same etiquette applies. You know, just kind of be just cordial with people. Don't touch anything that's obviously like not yours. Mm-hmm. I mean, just kind of keep your hands to yourself. Is the other way, and then you know just kind of talk and be friendly. Okay. I don't really know anything else. Okay. You've already pulled the no touching rule, so
yeah, that's a big rule.
Yeah, no, it's big. It's big.
Yeah. And I guess then we can jump on to topic number 3, which is vetting. What is vetting? How is it done? What's the benefits? Why should you do it?
Man, this question goes many ways.
It goes on and on. Vetting is, there's 2 different types of vetting. One is you being vetted for a big group to go to like a play party or a private party or something like that. What it is it's typically done while you're at the Munches. You get to know the leader, and they get to kind of put a face to the online persona. Excuse me. And they make sure that you're not kind of a crazy cuckoo right off the bat, and they say that yes, this person seems like somebody who can come play at our party. So that's that kind of vetting. And then there's another type of vetting, which is between you and a potential play partner or a potential relationship partner or dynamic partner, where you get to know them. You make sure you're compatible. You, for example, if you're into DDLG, so you want a daddy-daughter, daddy-dom little girl roleplay type relationship and roles, if you want to be a little bit bratty, if you want all the loves and cuddles, and you think impact play is giggling as he kind of taps your bottom, or she taps your bottom, then you obviously don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who is a very hardcore, sadistic, high protocol person who doesn't want to be called daddy. And so that's something you're finding out during vetting.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm excited for the after hour show, because we kind of like, we have the checklist.
So... We do. We've got some checklists coming out for you guys, both for to help you find your limits, as well as kind of a vetting checklist to say, yes, I like this thing. Yes, I like this thing. Oh, this thing's good as well. So we match and we're compatible on this.
Yeah, it's definitely a big. Actually, some of the lists are big, and then there's like a shorter one on the same one. So it's nice you got options. But
we're trying to give you options depending on how much time you have.
Yep.
Put into it.
And I mean, to go along with vetting too, there's the other part of vetting, which is basically vetting for a munch, since you kind of went over vetting for a relationship. Or not a relationship, but like a dynamic. But vetting for, a munch is definitely completely different. Just because, whenever you go to a munch, that's the whole point of even going, is to basically get in to the group, or them vetting you out to make sure that you are a good human being. Of course, you're not, like I said, the person sitting at the end, not wanting to, basically be an antisocial. Make sure that you fit the group, and then once you're there, you basically, you're in with the group. So everything that they're doing. Then normally it'll tell you like, hey, we're having an event this day, or sometimes they'll have private events that you'll get, selected into. But also, my favorite part about vetting is the fact that once you're in with one group, it's usually pretty easy because just like you, other people are connected with other groups. So let's say you want to go to like another group's like event, but you haven't been to one of their munches. Sometimes, depending on who the person is, like who your friend is, they can help vouch for you to those other leaders to let you go without having to go to a munch. So it's the old joke of, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes. Yeah. That's a really good point on being vetted for groups and munches and being vetted at munches. So, some things to look for when you're vetting, whether it be for like a play partner or pickup play or things like that, or for like a relationship, you can, I know somebody who describes it as, like a job application. You are getting their resume of what kinks they're into, how long they've been doing those kinks, what experience they have, and you're checking it against whatever position you have open, whether it be just for a play scene or for a long-term dynamic or for whatever it may be. You kind of check against those things. Don't be afraid to ask for references. That one can be kind of like a double-edged sword, because who's going to give you a reference that's bad? So you'll probably get, if you ask like, oh, and most people in the kink community are aware that there's going to be people who ask for references, so they're not afraid to give those. It won't seem out of place, but so ask for references. Talk to people in the community. That's another good reason to go to a munch. Talk to people in the munches. Because if they say, oh yeah, everybody at the munch knows me and everybody in this group loves me and they all talk about me and they all know my name, and then you go to a munch and you talk to 3 or 4 people and yeah, they know his name, but it's because he violates consent. He doesn't listen to safe words. Like that's another reason to talk to people at munches. So you can talk to people, or they may be like, yeah, I know so-and-so, I haven't ever played with him, but Barney over there plays with him all the time. Go talk to Barney and get his opinion on that guy you wanted. It'll give you a better idea of who they are. And typically if they're not their best friend, then you'll probably get a more unbiased opinion.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, that definitely caught me off guard. Like, I was like, this woman is throwing punches.
I know you thought he was gonna be a good person. No,
I really did. That's why it caught me off guard.
And that's why you want to ask, because you hear all of these good things because somebody thinks they are God's gift to the world, and all of a sudden you start hearing that, oh yeah, so and so played with them, but they called red because he suddenly decided to go against their negotiations and pulled out this blade that was dull and rusty and decided he wanted to do knife play. And that's not something they had vetted or they had negotiated and vetted. And it goes both ways. If, you're top looking for bottoms, and say you're a rope top looking for bottoms, and this bottom says, oh yeah, I love rope. Like, I really love a single hang harness from the chest suspension. And so you're like, oh cool, let's do that. And you negotiate it and it goes well. And as soon as you start, you tie the harness, and as soon as you start to suspend them, they go, stop, stop, stop. And they call their safe word, it hurts my chest, I can't breathe. Well, that's part of suspension. You're hanging from one point on your chest. It's got to be tight. All your body weight's going to be on it. And if you'd already done suspension, you would have known that. So you want to, you want to vet out people's experience and people's knowledge, and to make sure that they're not lying, because you can play with somebody who doesn't have, who has all of the knowledge but not the experience. You just need to kind of ratchet down your expectations of what that scene is going to be. So.
Man, I couldn't have said it any better, honestly.
Well, thank you. Can you tell I'm very passionate about vetting and the importance of it.
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's definitely different, like being, a top and a dominant, like, seeing it, it's like you kind of have only so many, submissives versus like a submissive having to actually like, I feel like y'all have a lot more to look for than the dominance do, just because you're giving up so much power. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you definitely hit that on the head.
That's true. But I mean, even as a dominant, you have to be able to trust that your submissive is. You have to be able to trust your submissive. Just point blank. Like, if you don't trust your submissive to even just to use their safe word to call a scene if something is wrong, then why are you playing with that person? If they will let you go so far past your own limits and they won't stop you, then why are you playing with them?
Right. That's the last thing they're looking out for. The first thing they should be looking out for is your safety. And if they can't even give you that, then that's not a dynamic. That's definitely just a sad dictatorship.
Exactly. There's I won't throw out names, but I know somebody who goes through and does tons of pickup scenes, and I've known them for about a year. And when I met them, they said, "Oh yeah, I'm just now getting into the scene." But then they start vetting out, and they start telling people, "Oh, I've been in the scene for 8 years, and I've done this, and I've done that, and I've done this." And I mean, one, that's a lie, but then they'll start playing with people, and she won't use her safe word, and then she turns around and says, "Oh, I used it and you didn't hear it." So that's another thing you kind of have to look out for. Like, and I know it sounds kind of like Debbie Downer. There's tons of good people out there, absolutely. But you need to be safe with your play and your dynamics and your pickup play. That's also what I really suggest playing in public for the first scene, especially if it hasn't been a long vetting process. And I mean, if you've known this person for 8 years, then yeah, that's totally different. There doesn't need to be. You've vetted them for 8 years. You've known them for 8 years. You know what kind of person they are. But if you just meet them, then yeah, I would definitely suggest playing in public the first couple of times.
It's true. I mean, obviously if you're new to BDSM, you're going to want to do a lot more public than privates for a while.
Absolutely.
So you at least, you feel comfortable, but not even just that. You have extra eyes just in case.
Exactly. And a lot of good dungeons have what's called a dungeon monitor. It's somebody who's kind of wandering around, watching scenes, making sure that nobody's ignoring safe words. They'll have like all dungeons have a dungeon safe word, which is typically red. So they'll wander around, they'll make sure that you do good. In fact, I'm going to tell another of Pua's stories. I was watching her have impact with a partner, her very first scene with this partner, and we were at a dungeon, and I was standing there off to the side, and it was a pretty heavy impact scene. There was floggers, there was whips, there was like a blackjack. Anyways, there's tons of impact. And her partner was going really hard, and I mean, she was enjoying it. And then he switched toys, and it was for a toy they had negotiated and agreed upon, but there was a comment of, "I've never tried it before, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, so we may cut that out once I've tried it." And it was agreed upon, and so he used it, and she was like, she kind of paused, and then she used it again, and she popped up, and he went, okay, no more, and he went and put that toy away. And like the dungeon master had, or the dungeon monitor had kind of like walked up to their scene because he had saw that, because she popped up. She was on a spanking bench, so she popped up so fast. She's like, ah, and her partner was like, okay, we don't like that one. We'll move on. And he asked, he's like, okay, you don't like that one. Do you want to continue? And she went, yes, just not with that. And he went, okay. So he put it away, and like the dungeon master or the dungeon monitor saw that, and he went to go step in if her partner still hadn't stopped. But he did. He switched toys. She got back in space. It was tons of fun. She enjoyed it. And the dungeon monitor kind of nodded and went, okay, and moved on to watch another scene. So that's part of the reason, playing in public is important. Because what if her partner hadn't stopped and just kind of pushed her back down and said, you negotiated for this one, you wanted to play with it, we're gonna play with it, rather than saying, okay, you didn't like that one, we'll move on. Do you want to move on? Do you want to stay? Or is this a red? Is this a stop? Or is this just kind of a not that toy? So
yep. And of course, if they listen, that means you've vetted correctly. But
exactly,
that's why we're kind of like on, between, I guess, this week and well, actually, it's mainly this week. We're doing a lot of like, I want to call it the checklist.
Yes, we're doing lots of checklists, and this week is kind of a really big safety week, because we've started talking about what is kink, what is consent, and now we want you to know, okay, if you're gonna get into these things, here's some ways to stay safe while still happily joining this and enjoying it. So, in fact, what's today? Today's Sunday. So Thursday's topic is today was Munches, Socialization, and Vetting. Next time we're gonna do. Go ahead.
Negotiation, safety, and limits.
Yeah, which is another big one. I know we've hit about an hour so far, just about. So we'll try to wrap it up here, but yeah, the next one is going to be pretty big as well, and we really think these are important. That's also why we have so many other blogs and articles about the importance of this. So, because consent is important anywhere, and everybody knows that, which is why we want it. But we wanted a week on that to say this is why it's important. But these, although we're shoving them all into 2 different episodes, vetting and safety and knowing your limits and going to Munches to be vetted for groups and socializing correctly are huge.
Yeah, I'm part of the boundary system.
Exactly. They can be a big make it or break it. Is there anything you want to leave them with, Edwin?
Oh, I get last remarks.
I will. Well,
you'll give yours.
I got a few things. Do you want last remarks? I'll go first.
I'll go with mine. Since you got a few things, I'll let you at least close it out. Okay. You've been definitely you've knocked it out of the park this episode. So
you can tell this one's important to me, and I feel very, very highly about this one.
I know, that's good. That's what it's supposed to be like. If you're passionate, obviously it shows through. So, it's good. It definitely, hearing it from somebody else definitely, kind of, re-sparks my motivation as well for safety. It's kind of something that you do, through the motions, but now it's you still want to at least be active in it. So, but to kind of leave the final remarks here, especially with this one being a big one to me, just because I'm all about I'm a people person. And I enjoy talking with people, but there comes that fine line of, talking to people and pushing boundaries. One of these days I'll give another one on, I had crossed the boundary as of recent, and I didn't really know it was going to turn out the way it did, but I'll have to talk about that. But as far as the Munches, people go, make sure that you are very, that you are trying to socialize and, like I said, follow the rules. Make sure you wear normal clothes, please. Don't walk in with no like crazy, bunny outfit or any type of weird leather type thing. So, but also like once you get vetted into these groups, like try and make a good impact. Like, don't be one of those troublemakers, or don't be trying to there to spread gossip. Like, we're supposed to be there to try and help each other as well as like grow the community. But if you're in there for any negative reasons, like there's not even the point for you to be there. So, come in good spirits, good hopes. And, like I always say all the time, like, make sure you do everything in good faith.
Amen. That was a good last point. It made me forget mine for a moment.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let's see if I remember. Oh, I don't remember it now. I'm just going to let you have the final remarks.
No.
No.
I made a point to go first. Go ahead.
I had a point and I don't remember it. No, I really did forget. It was about negotiating, and now I can't remember, and I'm very sad.
I'm out here like I'm gonna go first this time, and then like because
I knew I should have written it down.
I figured you were about to just like start tacking it out. I was like, all right, let me hurry up. But,
I had like 2 short points and a long point, but then I really got into what you were saying, and I was like, yeah, that's great. Like, I really agree. Go in with happiness and go in with good intentions and try to make it better. But now I don't remember my points. Oh, I feel like I definitely should have written them down.
Should I get? We might have to add that to like the to-do lists of every episode. Just make sure you have like your notepad or something in front of you.
It's sitting right here. I was writing things down, not these points. So I'll tell you what, listeners. If I remember these points as I'm editing, I will stop, record my points, and throw it in there for you. Because they were. I was really happy about them. Hot dogs. I'm so upset.
From now on, I'm not doing final remarks first. I'm just going to do it after.
From now on, you'll have to make sure I've written down my points.
All right. I'll be like, you sure you got this one? You got...
Yeah. Oh, I'm sad. I'm sure as I listen through the podcast again, as I edit, I'll remember them, so I'll throw them in there. But, I'm sad.
It's okay. I mean, all in all, it was definitely a good episode. And, like Thursday is definitely like a continuation. So, I mean, you can definitely throw it in there.
It is.
And it has to do with negotiation, so you might actually remember.
Exactly. Speaking of next Thursday, here's kind of the schedule for you all. Next week, like we said, negotiations, safety, and limits. Oh, I put linnets. That's an M. I'm sorry, guys. I can't type.
Typo.
The week after that, we are going to have a guest on. We're going to have Pua on, actually. She's going to help us talk about polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, and like threesomes, moresomes, and more. 221, we're going to talk about roles and like acronyms and shorthand that you should know in the BDSM world. 225, we're going to talk about mentorship. Another typo there. Mentorship and training and the difference between them, what grooming is, how it's bad. I have a friend who, for privacy reasons, won't come on the podcast, which is completely understandable, but he is going to write us a statement because he's involved in the Dallas mentorship group. And then we're going to talk, the last week of February, we're going to talk about fake doms and fake subs, and kind of some red flags to look out for. So
we got quite the we got quite the schedule, which is real nice.
Yeah, it should be exciting. It'll keep us on task because you can all know that we divert pretty easy.
A lot.
Sidetracks. It's fine. Okay. So that's the schedule. And then, Edwin, do you want to do a shameless plug here?
Oh, man. Oh, of course. Shameless plugs, as always. You could find us on, we got too many now. So you can find us on, Reddit. You can find us on,
I forgot one.
SoundCloud, YouTube,
Twitter.
What else? Oh, Twitter. Tweet. I went ahead and made a Twitter post earlier that we were getting on. So all y'all that liked it or saw it, thank you, of course. Man, other than that, obviously like everything at Dark Side Adventures. If you need to like send us information about, just like an article to go over, we actually recently did a reaction video that we need to actually like put up.
I know I'm working on editing that one.
Oh yeah, obviously like if you need help, you send me that. And we did that. So hopefully we're trying to get more and more stuff up for the show. So at least we have like, just a few more, just more content, obviously for you guys. And like I said, if you want to like send us ideas for the show, you have any questions, you want to be on the show.
Mm-hmm. If you have any comments and you're not out to your family. Yep,
very true. Man, and we gotta start the call in eventually, but that'll come. But you can reach us at our DarkSideAdventures at gmail.com. If I forgot any other plugs.
No, I think that's it. SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, email us, and Reddit. I think that's all we're on right now.
Yeah, and of course everything Dark Side Adventures. There's only one of them where it's like Dark S Adventures, and I think that's Twitter. That's just Twitter, and so everything else is Dark Side Adventures except for obviously like Twitter and the email. And the email once again is our DarkSideAdventures at gmail.com.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's us signing off.
All right, you want to go first this time?
I will go first this time. This is Coco.
I am Edwin.
And this is Dark Side Adventures.
Indeed, and we appreciate y'all, and hopefully we'll see y'all on Thursday. And we are gone.
Adios.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another adventure of learning and growth. New episodes post every Thursday and Sunday evening. Please let us know your favorite moment from the show and any kinks or fetishes you think we should explore by commenting or emailing us at ourdarksideadventures@gmail.com.